Hi, good afternoon. My name is Robert Sumwalt, and I'm a board member with the National Transportation Safety Board. And our investigators started arriving around 11:15 this morning, and investigators have been arriving throughout the day from our Washington, D.C. headquarters. The NTSB, as many of you know, is an independent federal agency. We are charged by Congress to investigate transportation accidents, to determine the probable cause, and then to issue safety recommendations to prevent these tragedies from ever happening again. Before I go on, I would like to offer my sincere condolences to all of those who've been affected by this tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those. As far as factual information, what we know at this point, and bear in mind that we've just gotten here, the investigation is just in the very beginning stages, but what we know right now is that at approximately 10:44 a.m., an Embraer 500, also known as a Phenom 100, crashed on approach to the Montgomery County Air Park. It was on a GPS approach to instrument approach to runway 14. The flight was being conducted from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, to here at the Montgomery County Air Park. The aircraft is registered to Sage Aviation of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The emergency responders have been working all morning and all afternoon to confirm the number of casualties, and at the conclusion of my remarks, Chief Lohr from the Montgomery County Fire Department will be making an announcement concerning their findings of the number of casualties. That will immediately follow this press briefing. The investigator in charge for this accident is Tim LeBaron. Tim is right here. Tim has over 11 years experience as an investigator for the NTSB. The areas that the investigation will be looking at, we will have NTSB investigators that are specifically looking at a number of topics. Operations, that's something that we will be looking at, which will include the crew experience, the crew proficiency, crew training, and procedures. We have a power plant specialist to be looking at the engines, the functionality of the engines as well as their maintenance. We'll be looking at the weather. We'll be looking at air traffic control. We will be obtaining radar data and communications data from air traffic control to reconstruct this accident flight, and we will be interviewing air traffic controllers who handled this aircraft. We have a systems specialist that will be examining the components of the aircraft to include hydraulics, electrical, navigational equipment, as well as flight controls. We'll be diagramming the wreckage. We'll be documenting the wreckage. We also have specialists from the NTSB's Office of Transportation Disaster Assistance who will be working very carefully with the families of those who've been affected by this tragedy. Throughout the next several days, our investigators will be working to gather as much factual information as we can so that we can reconstruct this crash. And our mission is to find out not only what happened, but why it happened, because we want to make sure that something like this never happens again. That is why we are here. And we will not be determining the cause of the crash while we are here. We are simply here to collect the factual information. I describe it as while we're here on scene, we will be collecting the perishable evidence. That's the information that can go away with the passage of time. And we expect our investigators to be on scene anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7 days, depending on how long it takes to accomplish those tasks. But again, we've got a fact-finding phase, and then we begin our analysis phase. But we're here just strictly right now in the fact-finding phase. I am happy to report that about an hour and a half ago, our investigators recovered the black boxes, the black box, the recorders. In this particular case, as many of the airplanes nowadays, the recorders are in one combined unit. So that has not only the cockpit voice recorder, but it also has the flight data recorder. And as soon as that black box was recovered, it was in, by the way, it was in good physical condition. It has been rushed to our headquarters in Washington, D.C., where folks in our labs, investigators in our labs, will begin this evening downloading the data. We're just in the very, very beginning phases of the investigation. We don't have much factual information to report, but I would encourage you to follow us. We will tell you information as we find it out. I would encourage you to follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @ntsb.gov, and also you may follow us at our webpage, www.ntsb.gov. I certainly want to thank the first responders. They've been working tirelessly throughout the morning and throughout the afternoon, and I want to thank them for their hard work. And I'll be glad to take any questions that you may have at this time. David Curley.
You mentioned you'll be looking at weather. What about other conditions? He was on final, about 4 miles. He reported that he was on final. So something happened very quickly. There were reports of birds in the area right before he was getting ready to land. Have you got anything you can tell us about birds and a possible bird strike?
Do we have any information about a possible bird strike? And the answer is, at this point, we do not have any information about a bird strike. However, we are just beginning the investigation. That is one of the many things that we will look at. So I'll put it to you this way. Nothing is off the table. Everything is on the table at this point.
Mr. Member Sumble,
yes, sir.
There were also reports that there was a Cessna prop plane that was ahead of him trying to land at the airport as well. Do you have any reports on that?
Do we have any reports that another airplane may have been trying to land at the air park immediately before this aircraft? And we will be reconstructing the wreckage, the accident from air traffic control data. So we will be able to see what other airplanes may have been in the area.
Can you tell us where the airplane came to rest? Is it in the driveway? Is some of it in the house?
Yeah, so can I describe the wreckage? There's a house. The first house that it appears that it struck is right here, and there's a narrow gash going through that roof. A very narrow gash going through the roof and into what appears to be a bedroom. The main part of the fuselage is rested up against the second house, with the tail of the airplane actually at the front door of that house. And then finally, it appears that one of the wings was catapulted over into the third house where the majority of the fire damage occurred. So wreckage is really in the aircraft wreckage itself is really in two main areas, but it damaged 3 houses.
That wing coming off and fuel stored in the wing, is that what may have brought the fire to the third house?
So what may have caused the fire in that third house? I will say that the wing, which contains fuel, did end up in that third house where most of the fire damage has occurred. Is the question over here?
Right. If nobody else does, what are the two most vulnerable, I'm kind of leading question here, but you're a pilot yourself. And approach, is that a particularly vulnerable time in flight operation?
So what is the most vulnerable part of a flight? And historically, and I'm not saying that that's a factor in this particular accident, but historically, most accidents do occur during the approach and landing phase, historically speaking. So I'll take one more question. There's a question here.
Air traffic control.
I'm sorry.
Air traffic control. Can you give us a sense of when the pilots were communicating?
Yes, and I'm sorry, because of the helicopter, I'm not able to hear all of that, but yeah, I think what you want to know is what can we find out from the air traffic control? Yeah, so we will be able to get radar data. So as the airplane is being tracked on radar by controllers, there's a radar hit about every 4.5 seconds. So we should be able to download that air traffic control data and see right where the airplane was going in terms of altitude and speed and heading. And then we will also have voice communications, the actual pilot to controller voice communication. So in addition to that, we will have the black boxes, which I mentioned will be downloaded this evening. So as I mentioned, we're just in the very, very, very beginning stages of the investigation. You have a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions, and that's why we're here, to find out what happened so that we can prevent them from happening again. I want to thank you, and we will be providing you with information as we have it. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Steve Lohr, the Montgomery County Fire Chief, and I'm joined here by Chief Tom Manger, the Montgomery County Police, and colleagues from both agencies to share some more tragic news with you. In the course of our work this afternoon, we have confirmed the loss of the 3 family members of the Gemmel family in the house that burned behind us. This is a tragic loss for the Montgomery County community. I am sad to report that they did not survive this event. And at this time, of course, we are beginning the important work of recovering the bodies from this incident and beginning the investigative steps necessary to advance the investigation. So with that, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Chief Manger.
About an hour and a half ago, investigators found 3 bodies on the 2nd floor of the home. It was an adult female and 2 young children. We believe it is the woman who lived there and 2 of her children, a 3-year-old and an infant. Right now, the Montgomery County Police is going to take over that death investigation. We don't know at this point what if the cause of death was smoke inhalation or something else. We'll be able to determine that as the investigation goes on. So, any questions?
Do you know the gender of the children?
Yeah, I believe it's two sons.
Yeah, their names.
And the name of the family?
The family's last name is Gemmel, and
Spell that?
I don't have the spelling.
And the dog perished as well?
I'm not sure about the pet.
The family name again, Zemmel or Sem?
Gemmel.
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 Chief, do you have any information? We hear that the mother was on maternity leave, and so it was a quite young.
Could have. We are told the child is a month and a half old. The younger child was a month and a half old. The older one was 3 years old.
Where in the house?
2nd floor of the house.
Could you
Were
tell
they
us
all together, or
Yes.
yeah, they were all together?
The husband and 5-year-old are accounted for,
Yes.
and do you know, are you releasing the names of the victims?
Not at this point.
It was a real challenge for the fire and police investigators to be able to get in and find the position of the bodies and so forth. It sounded like you said you spent a lot of time searching, and it was pretty dangerous to go in there.
Well, the structural damage is obvious to the structure. You know, we were able to quickly search the portion of the structure that was structurally stable. We were not able to conduct those operations in the portion of the structure that was not stable. So we did everything we could to shore up to the point that we could get to the point of the 2nd floor where we were able to locate the victims.
Was the husband and the 5-year-old you mentioned, they in the house at the time, or were they not?
I don't believe they were. That's a better question for the folks that have done the interviews of not only witnesses, but of course other family members.
Do you have a sense, and I know, Chief, you said this, but do you have a sense where the wing was and where the bodies were? was the relationship?
The wing of the aircraft?
The wing of the member Sumwalt said that the wing of the aircraft actually penetrated the structure.
Well, it's obvious in the front yard. No, I don't, to answer your question directly, but that's really an NTSB question that they're best prepared to answer. Given the level of destruction, I think they're the only ones that can reasonably answer that.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.